Poland plans to spend 4.7% of GDP this year, the most among NATO countries, among European Union countries.
Poland is sending more troops to its border with Belarus after claiming 2 Belarusian military helicopters violated its airspace.
Most importantly, I think that if Russia has stopped in Ukraine, it won't attack again.
Poland has not bled for territory the way Ukraine has. It has done something else. It has prepared relentlessly, deliberately, and at a scale that many in Europe once dismissed as excessive. While others debated strategy in conference rooms and issued cautious communiques, Warsaw signed contracts. While some governments hesitated over budget targets, Poland committed billions. While much of Europe assumed the post-Cold War security order would somehow repair itself, Poland rebuilt its military from the ground up. Entire divisions were reactivated, recruitment pipelines expanded, equipment depots filled, railways upgraded, air defenses layered, eastern provinces reinforced. Civil defense discussions revived after decades of neglect. And now, in 2026, that preparation is no longer theoretical. It is reshaping the military balance along NATO's eastern frontier. For years, Polish leaders were told they were overreacting, that fortifying the east would provoke rather than prevent, that doubling the size of the armed forces was unnecessary, that aiming to become the largest land force in the European Union was political theater. Poland was not wrong. Over the past several years, Poland has accelerated deployments along its eastern borders, activated new brigades, signed unprecedented procurement agreements with the United States and South Korea, and built a layered defensive posture facing Belarus and Russia's Kaliningrad exclave. What critics once labeled alarmism now looks like strategic clarity. This transformation will be studied for decades, and we're going to examine why Poland chose this exact moment to consolidate and accelerate its defense expansion, and what that means for Russia, for NATO, and for the broader security architecture of Europe. But before we go deeper, here's the headline number. Poland is now spending around 4% of its GDP on defense, the highest percentage in NATO, higher proportionally than the United States, dramatically higher than most Western European states. This is not symbolic spending. It translates into real formations, real capabilities, and real deterrence. Before we break down exactly what happened and why this matters so much, please make sure you subscribe to War Theory. We're giving you the real analysis nobody else will touch. Now let's start with geography, because in Eastern Europe, geography is never neutral. In Poland's northeast lies a narrow stretch of land known as the Suwałki Corridor. It runs between Belarus to the east and Russia's heavily militarized Kaliningrad region to the west. To civilians, it appears quiet: forests, lakes, scattered towns. To military planners, it is one of the most dangerous pieces of terrain in NATO territory. If that corridor were ever severed in a crisis, the Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, could be isolated from land reinforcement by the rest of the alliance. Poland understands that reality more clearly than anyone. That is why its force expansion is not abstract. It is geographically anchored. New units have been positioned with the Suwałki region in mind. Reinforcement routes have been mapped, upgraded, and exercised. Logistics corridors from western Poland to the east have been strengthened. The reactivation and expansion of the 18th Mechanized Division was not ceremonial, it was strategic. Armor positioned to blunt mechanized incursions, artillery structured to reach staging areas before they cross borders, air defense units placed to shield key infrastructure, territorial defense formations integrated to complicate hybrid infiltration or sabotage operations. Poland is not building a military for distant expeditionary campaigns. It is preparing for high-intensity conflict on its own territory, so that such a conflict never materializes. The hardware revolution alone tells part of the story. Poland has ordered 366 American M1 Abrams tanks. It has signed agreements to acquire large numbers of South Korean K2 Black Panther tanks, with production lines expected to expand domestically over time. It has procured hundreds of K9 self-propelled howitzers. It has invested heavily in HIMARS and similar long-range rocket artillery systems. These are not marginal upgrades. They represent a generational shift in capability. Abrams tanks bring heavy armor protection and advanced fire control systems. K2 tanks provide mobility and modern electronics. K9 howitzers expand artillery responsiveness. HIMARS systems provide long-range precision fires capable of striking deep behind potential front lines. Layered together, they create a denial network. Add to that Patriot air defense batteries integrated into NATO's broader air and missile defense architecture. Add F-35 fighter jets scheduled for integration into the Polish Air Force. Aircraft designed to operate in contested airspace and provide stealth strike capability. This is not piecemeal modernization. It is layered deterrence. Armor to hold ground. Long-range fires to disrupt enemy concentrations. Air defenses to protect population centers and logistics hubs. Advanced aircraft to contest airspace. Engineering units to fortify terrain at speed. And manpower to sustain all of it. Poland aims to expand its armed forces toward roughly 300,000 personnel, including professional soldiers and territorial defense forces. If achieved, that would make Poland the largest land army in the European Union. But numbers alone do not explain the strategy. Scale without structure is just mass. Poland's expansion is structured. Brigades are being built with integrated reconnaissance, air defense, logistics, and engineering components. Training cycles are being expanded to ensure that new recruits are not rushed into service without readiness. Command structures are being modernized to integrate seamlessly with NATO frameworks. This is not about having the biggest army for its own sake. It is about having a force capable of fighting and sustaining high-intensity combat under modern conditions. Poland has watched Russia's war in Ukraine unfold in real time. It has seen what happens when logistics falter. It has seen what happens when air superiority is contested. It has seen how drones transform the battlefield. Drone reconnaissance now stretches kilometers beyond front lines. FPV drones have demonstrated the ability to destroy armored vehicles at relatively low cost. Electronic warfare has disrupted communications and navigation systems. Poland has absorbed these lessons without paying for them in blood. Its modernization reflects that. Investments in counter-drone systems are expanding. Electronic warfare capabilities are being enhanced. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance networks are being strengthened. This is Poland adapting before being forced to adapt. An adaptation is the difference between deterrence and vulnerability. Poland's territorial defense forces deserve particular attention. Created to provide local resilience, these volunteer formations are designed to defend critical infrastructure, support regular forces, and complicate any attempt at occupation. They are rooted in local communities, familiar with terrain, and structured to operate even if central command structures are disrupted. They are not a substitute for heavy armor. They are a multiplier. This layered approach, professional forces, territorial units, NATO integration, creates depth. And depth creates deterrence. Deterrence also requires political will. Poland's leadership has demonstrated rare continuity in defense policy. Changes in government have not reversed military expansion. Procurement contracts have not been abandoned midstream. Budget commitments have not been slashed under pressure. That consistency sends a signal. It tells allies that Poland is serious. It tells adversaries that Poland is not wavering. And it tells its own population that security is foundational. Russia's strategic dilemma grows sharper as a result. For years, Moscow portrayed NATO's eastern members as exposed and fragile. Poland no longer fits that description. Kaliningrad now faces a Poland equipped with modern armor, long-range precision rockets, integrated air defenses, and expanding manpower. Belarus borders a state actively fortifying and modernizing. Every new brigade forces recalculation. Every reinforcement exercise complicates contingency planning. Every logistics upgrade reduces vulnerability. This is deterrence by denial. It does not rely on threatening retaliation after the fact. It focuses on making aggression prohibitively difficult from the outset. Logistics form the backbone of that strategy. Poland has invested in railway upgrades capable of transporting heavy armored units rapidly across the country. Fuel depots have been expanded and hardened. Ammunition storage facilities have been modernized. Roads linking western bases to eastern frontiers have been reinforced. Without logistics, tanks are monuments. With logistics, they are power. Poland understands that distinction. Hybrid threats are also part of the calculus. Migration pressure along the Belarusian border tested Poland's resilience. Cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns have targeted institutions and public opinion. Warsaw responded by strengthening border infrastructure, enhancing cyber defenses, and coordinating civil-military crisis management systems. Preparedness is no longer confined to the battlefield. It extends to energy security, digital resilience, and supply chain stability. Poland has diversified energy imports, reducing dependence on Russian supplies. It has invested in LNG terminals and alternative energy routes. Security is comprehensive, and it is deliberate. Spending 4% of GDP on defense carries economic consequences. Social programs, infrastructure projects, and fiscal priorities must be balanced. But Poland's calculation is clear. The cost of deterrence is lower than the cost of occupation. History reinforces that logic. Poland's geography has placed it at the crossroads of European conflict for centuries. Partitions erased it from maps. Invasions shattered sovereignty. Occupations suppressed independence. Those memories are not distant. They inform doctrine. They inform policy. They inform urgency. Poland's buildup is not about aggression. It is about insurance. Insurance against miscalculation. Insurance against complacency. Insurance against the assumption that history will not repeat itself. If NATO's Article 5 were ever tested, Poland would be central. By building credible military capacity now, Warsaw reduces ambiguity about response timelines and alliance cohesion. An aggressor would not face hesitation. It would face prepared resistance. It would face a state that has already mobilized in advance of crisis. It would face logistics corridors ready to move reinforcements. It would face layered defenses designed to slow and blunt any advance. That clarity reduces the chance of miscalculation, and miscalculation is often what leads to war. Perhaps the most profound transformation is psychological. For decades, much of Europe treated interstate war as implausible. Poland does not share that assumption. Civil defense infrastructure is being reassessed. Emergency planning frameworks are being updated. Public awareness campaigns emphasize resilience. Military exercises simulate not just battlefield engagement, but national endurance under pressure. This is normalization of strategic realism. It is an acknowledgement that deterrence requires more than rhetoric. It requires readiness, it requires depth, it requires continuity. And Poland is building all three. If Poland's strategy works perfectly, there will be no dramatic climax, no advancing columns, no sudden offensives, no battlefield reversals. There will simply be stability. The absence of conflict will be the result. But stability does not happen by accident. It is engineered, it is funded, it is maintained. Poland has not fired a shot in 2026. It has not launched an offensive. It has not reclaimed territory, but it has altered the balance by expanding manpower, by modernizing hardware, by reinforcing logistics, by strengthening alliance integration, by internalizing lessons from modern warfare before being forced to learn them the hard way, by building depth instead of reacting to crisis, by investing before panic sets in. Poland has made itself a far less attractive target, and that may be the most decisive achievement of all. If deterrence holds, if no corridor is cut, if no border is breached, if no alliance fracture occurs, historians may look back on this period not as escalation, but as stabilization. They may describe it as the moment when a frontline state chose preparation over complacency. They may note that while others debated, Poland built. They may conclude that strength preserved peace, because the ultimate measure of military preparation is not how many battles you win, it is how many wars you prevent, and Poland intends to prevent them.